everyone, how are you? One moment, I've literally just got out the shower and I need to share the screen. I'll just do that again. Oh yeah, here we go. I'll tell you what, there's been some absolute shite happened over the weekend, hasn't there? This was a good one. Anyway, before I get into that, how's everyone doing? Who's in? Kate's in. Thank you for moderating as always, Kate. Well done. Two-tone, Jeff. Whiskey Straight Al is in. Hope your health's all right, Alan. Deb's red. Shay, Karen, Professor Andy Scousobi, Dave Mitchell, Slodzy is Mark Thompson, Tomo, Dave Scott, Kenny Ainsworth, Carl, Blue Van Man's in, the Baron, Ginger, everybody else, Terry, Fuckwit, the Ordred, Wild, Ragnar, Gruppenführer, and the rest. Welcome. Hope you all had a good weekend. I did. Well, and I didn't, because it was good. Me and my missus went to Santa Barbara town, went to a few bars, and walk in the sun. Fucking lovely place. Even that irritates me, though, about the sort of white middle-class arseholes, because you go somewhere like Santa Barbara, I'll tell you what, it's the whitest place I've ever been in America. I sound like Jon Snow there, because you shouldn't notice these things. I certainly never used to notice colour. You know, when we were brought up in the 90s to not think about that type of thing and just get on with our lives. But since the communists have been dragging us back for the last 10 years, now you do. And it's always the richest, most glorious places in the world that shriek the most about diversity, isn't it? If you go into some shitty little town out in the sticks in California, they're all Republicans. You've got some proper posh. These people don't realise how good they've got. Well, they probably do. They probably do. They're just spuriously dishonest. It's the nicest place. I'm not trying to brag that I spent the weekend there, but it's the nicest place in the world. It's clean, it's immaculate. The fucking tramps in Santa Barbara, there's not many of them, but when you see them, they look like businessmen in Middlesbrough. They've all got like tailored suits on and fucking there's charging devices in the streets in Santa Barbara for the tramps to plug the laptops in. And me and my missus walked past a bloke this weekend and he was proper, like, he was better dressed than me. He looked like he got out the shower about an hour ago and he was just sat tapping away on his laptop and I was like, is that bloke a fucking tramp? Like, the tramps look like business moguls in Santa Barbara. So obviously they're all fucking lefty arseholes there, aren't they? Ridiculous place. Ridiculous place. Went there, watched Middlesbrough get twatted by Chelsea. So the day was nice. And the surrounds were nice, but, well, to be honest, nobody expected us to win anyway, so who gives a fuck? But I don't like Chelsea. Yeah, it's a ridiculous place. And that sums up the modern left, doesn't it? Essentially, I'm of the opinion now, after doing this for a few years and really sticking my head into politics aggressively, I almost think that the woke movement is a form of class warfare, because the only people now that are screaming lefties are either brainwashed working class fucking idiots, and they are a tiny percentage of them, or posh people. Posh people. AOC's posh. Owen Jones and Ash Sarkar. Ash Sarkar's parents were like fucking dignitaries or something. Where did she go? Cambridge? Oxford? Like, they're all posh. The left wing are posh. And when they say things like, Stephen Colbert went on TV over here. He's this comedian beloved by the left. You've probably heard like Trevor Noah. He's another one of them. And they're just insufferable posh people. And he actually said, I shit you not, you can find the video on YouTube. Just Google Stephen Colbert. He said, who cares if gas prices are $5? I wouldn't care if gas prices are $15 because I want a clean conscience. Well, I've got one, mate. If you need to buy one because you're some sort of woke sexual deviant, pill-popping fucking scum like they all are, yeah, you sort your own life out, mate. But I've got a clean conscience. I don't need to pay $15 for my fucking gas. Thanks. And then he even said, to rapturous applause from his woke middle-class audience, it doesn't really matter because I've got a Tesla. I've got a Tesla. So who does all this climate change bollocks affect? Working class people. If you're a fucking working class bloke, you're a bus driver and you drive a £3,000 knackered 2007 Ford Escort, you do care about the gas prices, the petrol prices. It's class warfare. All of the lefty wankers are posh. There's a good one. Got a spare Windows 11 key, mate. Yeah, that's a tramp in Santa Barbara. It's ridiculous. They're all posh, all of them. So it's a form of class warfare. It really annoys me that it's just the same old shite, whereby the upper middle classes are well off, are just filled with contempt for working class people. They pretend to care about the working class. And this is all, it's almost boring to talk about, isn't it, if you know about politics, because this is what every person from Thomas Sowell down has been saying for 5 fucking decades. The woke, which is just a rebranding of the old socialist commie rhetoric, the woke fundamentally do not like poor people. They pretend they like poor people, but they like themselves. And everything they do, it just shits all over the working class. I'll pay $15 for my gas. Well, you do it then, dickhead. It's fucking bollocks. And as I've talked about as well, humans are clever and we can come up with solutions to this. The whole climate thing is, if you actually crunch the numbers, absurd. No one's saying climate change doesn't exist at all, because obviously 1 billion cars emitting chemicals does stuff, right? There's a chemical reaction. But the actual climate change argument that we're having in the West, i.e. we have to curb our emissions, is ridiculous, because China and India and the third world in general, all of Africa, are pumping out kids and blasting the emissions out. So 2023, all of the West will have less emissions, and we're massively outnumbered by all of the developing world and Africa and Asia and India. And their emissions are going to double, or whatever it is going up. The Chinese are building coal power plants. The whole of Europe could live in a fucking cave and ban the automobile, and we're still going to have more emissions in 2023 than we've got now. Because people are multiplying. Humans are the biggest driver. Actually, squirting out children is the biggest driver of climate change. So it is absolutely pointless what we're doing. Completely pointless. It doesn't do anything. Doesn't do anything. How many times have I made the analogy that I used on the first video I made about climate change? It's like you've just gouged a 50-foot hole in the side of the Titanic and you're in there worrying about fucking emptying the fucking water out the fish tanks, the lobster tanks. Oh no, the excess water from the lobsters in the restaurant might send us under. There's a fucking 50-foot hole in the side of your ship, you thick twat. It doesn't do anything. People who say every little helps can't do maths. They can't do basic maths. Every little helps. It doesn't. If the UK goes net zero and wages war on our working class to get to net zero, it still won't make any difference, because in 2030, China's emissions are going to be fucking... Every year they had... I mean, we're not even in the top 20 emitters now. It's a farce. It's an excuse to steal money from working class people. That's it. And thick twats have bought into it. Tax me more, daddy. Are you a fucking idiot? Just do some maths. Seriously. Right, anyway. That's just another rant about climate change. It does my head in. It's just waging war on fucking working class people. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, yeah, before... I know I've started going off piece a little bit because... And obviously I can't do pre-recorded BBC Spews now because they just get instantly banned, and you know how it goes. So I try to stick to the BBC when I'm doing my live broadcasts, but occasionally there's a really good story I want to point everybody at. And I'm going to do that now before I start talking about this fucking bollocks about Boris. It's this story. Because I was ranting about Biden on Friday, was it Thursday? But this one, another one. Don't go full retardian, read the fucking Guardian. That's the only rhyme I can come up with. Nothing rhymes with Guardian, does it? Don't go full retardian and subscribe to the Guardian. This is madness. Biden's cursed presidency. Cursed presidency. Gas prices the latest headache as midterms loom. In his 14 months in office, the US president has grappled with COVID, inflation, the Russia-Ukraine war, and energy prices, and seemingly can't catch a break. Who's this thick twat? David Smith, Washington Bureau Chief of the Guardian. Looks like a sex pest. Typical oily Guardian woke sex pest. Looking at the camera, he's looking at the child sex slave chained to his radiator there. Yeah. Laura, I want to see your lungs. Yeah, typical woke man. Yeah. Get out of my sight, David. Look at that headline. How good's that, though? Like, everything that happened. So, the Chinese, basically, and fueled by American taxpayers' money, released this fucking... Oh, no, again, you have to watch what you're saying, don't you? You end up getting banned. Let's just say, we all know where the fucking virus come from now. We all know. It's not a conspiracy theory now. It's all out in the open. The Democrats started calling it the Trump virus. These lefty arseholes who write for these papers started calling it the Trump virus. Like Trump's got a cauldron and he was going, you know, knocking it up in his fucking garage. And he personally whipped up a Trump virus and then, put it in a syringe and then injected it into a toddler and pushed him into a kindergarten. And that's how we got COVID, yeah? The Trump virus. That's what they called it. He had absolutely nothing to do with it. He didn't fucking fund it. It was started years earlier, before he took office. Foreskin Fauci, he was involved, it seems like, judging by all the emails and the evidence that's come out. But no mention of China, no mention of the WHO, no mention of the US taxpayers. It was just the Trump virus. And then this senile, useless, born liar. He's a born liar. They used to call Trump a liar all the time. He is a born liar. I showed you on Thursday when he said, make no mistake, this inflation is caused by Putin. It offends me even saying it. Like, how thick does he think we are? It was largely caused by Putin. You have to be a fucking lunatic. You have to have the memory retention of a drunk goldfish. It was largely caused by Putin. He only invaded the country a month ago, you fucking lunatic. A month ago, they've been crying about inflation for at least six months ago. I remember them saying, oh, no, it's largely transitory. Well, it's largely transitory. And they were saying, no, it's not transitory. It's definitely staying in. And then 3 months ago, oh, we're fucking inflation's going to be the highest ever. Oh, my God, gas prices are flying up because the Keystone Pipeline got collapsed and Biden won't sign any permits so we can get more fracking done, drill for more oil. 3 months ago, that was happening. And then fucking Putin invades a month ago, and just to go slowly for anyone who's woke and can't do basic maths. 3 months ago, right, is longer ago than 1 month ago. Just remember, like, typically 30, 31 days in a month, yeah? 3 of them is more than 1, right? So when they were complaining about gas prices and inflation and immigration and COVID and Afghanistan, fucking Afghanistan, let's not forget about that. 13 dead American kids in the sands of Afghanistan, most incompetent military disaster. The United States humiliated by a bunch of fucking pot-bellied goat herders, the biggest foreign policy disaster in 50 fucking years since the fall of Vietnam. Let's not forget about that little trifling detail. Dead American kids. All that's going on 3 months ago. And then Putin invades a month back and they go, fucking hell, it's his fault, the cunt. Like, Honestly, like I said, I'm sick of mocking these people with the same rhetoric. But if that's good enough for you, you are a lunatic. There's nothing I can say to change your mind. I think even most Democrats would laugh at that, because I know the Spectator is a centre-left publication. That Kate Andrews voted for Biden. I stopped following her on Twitter when she said she voted for Biden. It pissed me off. Kate's just trying to get a fucking good gig in London. Kate Andrews and a lot of the people at the Spectator would, if they could vote or did vote, it was for Biden, not Trump. And even she was on Twitter saying it's a little bit misleading to say, it's largely the fault of Putin. A little bit misleading, Kate. It is a blatant, barefaced fucking lie. That rat bastard, I wouldn't believe his radio. He couldn't lie straight in bed. And if you can't think back 6 weeks, you're a lunatic. Just think back 6 weeks. Was inflation a problem in 6 weeks ago? Yeah. Gas prices? Yeah. Everything's got to shit. Self-harm. Collapsing the Keystone and refusing to allow American companies to employ American blue-collar workers and do fracking and drilling for more oil and building the pipeline. Self-harm. It's an act of wanton self-harm by a moron who's trying to pander to the woke. Look at this bollocks. Let's all cry about Biden and pray for... well, I'll stop you there, fella. I'll stop you there. That last bit, pray for Putin to rule. Has anybody ever done that in America or England in any form or way, shape or form in conservative politics ever? Speaking of thick twats, there's one right there. Has anyone done that? This beyond simpleton argument that everything is binary. We live in a world of 10,000 shades of grey, and thick twats like this guy, let's put it back on the screen for the world to see, think that there is no such thing as shades of grey. There's black and white. And if you don't love Joe Biden, you support the guy who injects you with polonium. This is the world we're living in. This fucking moron here. Oh, if you don't like Biden, you support the guy who literally injected a fucking defector with polonium, and then 600 people in London needed to get the blood tested. Fucking lunatic. No, nobody's on Putin's side. I'm a British patriot, thank you very much. Unlike you, Mr. Woke arsewipe, I've got a Union Jack on my logo because I love my country, and I've got my nice America shirt on because I like America. Just because I'm pointing out the fact the current president is a dirty, slimy, lying, corrupt fucking shitbag who thinks I've got a 4-second memory span doesn't mean I support the other guy. Thanks. And I think anybody who's not a fucking idiot can see it. You don't see conservatives in England saying, "Oh, you don't support Boris Johnson? Oh, then you love fucking Xi Jinping, you cunt." Are you a fucking plank? Seriously. Absolute plank. Oh, no, I don't like Boris Johnson. I like Keir Starmer. Oh, no. If you don't like Boris Johnson, you want to give Putin a hand job. I mean, get a fucking grip. Grow up is the short version. That's what I have to say to anyone who has a pop when you whinge about Biden. Oh, you don't like President Biden? Oh, you must be a Putin fan then. What, in America? Yeah, loads of Americans love Russian dictators, you fucking barmy cunt. We're not saying we like Putin. We're saying we like the orange guy better than this shit for brains. That's what we're saying. Christ on a bike. As I said, grow up. Grow up. That is well done. Thickest comment of the year there. Thickest comment of the year. Love it. Love it. Keep them coming. Keep them coming, my fucking clueless chum. Anyway, let's at least read something or I'll just pop a gasket. Cursed presidency. So it's a cursed presidency, nothing to do with self-harm. The left are urging a green energy revolution. The right is sounding a battle cry of drill, baby, drill. Yeah, because the right know how fucking basic economics works. And American voters, tired of political excuses, are feeling angry. Rising gas prices pose a fresh election year headache for Joe Biden. Republicans accuse him of pushing a radical anti-US energy agenda. Demonstrable fact. Accuse him. Accuse him. Demonstrable fact. Demonstrable fact. Prove me wrong. Did he or did he not collapse the Keystone Pipeline, put tens of thousands of American workers on the rock and roll, and say, fuck it, instead of pumping down 900,000 barrels of oil a day, we'll just buy more oil off the Ruskies? If anyone's pro-Putin, it's that thick bastard, because he's the one paying the man. I'm not paying Putin. I've never given him a penny. I wouldn't support a Russian dictator. He's the one sending American taxpayers' money to fucking Putin. So yeah, accuse him. That's Guardian speak for pointing at the demonstrable fact that he is pushing a radical anti-US energy agenda. Self-harm. We were energy independent. We didn't need to do anything. All Joe Biden had to do is get the keys off the orange guy, walk into the White House, sit in the fucking chair, and then just sit there. Just do crosswords and Sudoku and watch fucking reruns of Matlock or whatever it is, granddad telly you like. Steptoad's son. Sit and watch fucking In Sickness and in Health. All he had to do was that, and we'd be in better shape than we are now. That's all he had to do. The border was more or less squared away. Drilling was going on. We were getting energy independence was on the cards. Fracking was going on. The Keystone Pipeline was getting squared away. 900,000 barrels of oil. We only buy 500,000 barrels of oil. Easy. Easy. Again, elementary school maths, primary school maths. So not accuse, pointing at the obvious fact. Democrats put the blame on greedy oil companies. How? Do you know how it works? Do you know how it works? The Saudis control the oil supplies because they know if it gets too high, then everyone's going to really dig out blind to get alternatives to oil. So they go, and drop the prices. The Saudis manipulate these prices, and now they're making it out to be a win because Biden's gone and negotiated, pump more oil, lads. It's not because of Biden. It's because they know if the prices go too high, it'll bite them in the ass. So it's not the greedy oil company. Who do you think's doing this? Some white guy in fucking London. One of the chief executives at Shell. You don't know anything. You don't know anything. You walk shit for brains, commie bastard. Just stop playing politics. You shouldn't even talk about politics if you walk. Just go and sit on your cashmere blanket at one of those Remain rallies. Sit on your cashmere blanket, eating your French cheese and drinking your Italian Prosecco, and then go, in your $2,000 dress and talk about fucking climate change. Just stick to that. Because as soon as you start talking about economics or greedy oil companies, you just put your foot in your mouth. So you may as well just give up. Quit while you're behind, lads. Yeah? And the assault on Ukraine by Putin. While some argue that crisis offers opportunity, consumers are feeling the pinch. No shit. Biden seemingly cannot catch a break. The poor bastard. Biden's had a cursed presidency. Boo-hoo. Larry Jacobs, he's a fucking idiot. This is Larry Jacobs, a woke twat, conceding the fact that Biden's doing a terrible job. He's got nailed by the continuation of COVID. So when Trump was dealing with it, it was the Trump virus, and it was all his fault, and he personally killed hundreds of thousands of Americans. That's what Larry said. That's what you said, Larry, not me. You said, he's killing them. Trump's killing them. He's a murderer. There's blood on his hands. Biden, he's just getting nailed by COVID. It's not his fault. It's the COVID's fault. He's getting nailed by it. The poor bastard. We should all feel sorry for him. Suck my stump, Larry. Suck my stump. Voters want to be able to get gas for the cars and not spend $100. Well, you should watch who you vote for then, lads, shouldn't you? You should watch who you vote for, lads. You should have voted for the orange fucker that said, pump, drill, bring the pipeline down. We don't need anybody else. We can make all of our own gas. We can even export the excess. We'll be rich. We'll all be rich. The blue-collar workers will be rich. The white-collar workers will be rich. Everyone will be paying $1.99 for a gallon of petrol. It's winning. Winning. We're going to win so much you get tired of winning. And what did that fucking asshole up there say? Yes, this fucking worm, this fucking human toilet, this oxygen thief. What did he say? Oh, no, we all need to pay more. We all need to pay a little bit more to look after the environment, while Sardite, the AOC, fucking chomper, teeth like a dead sheep, sitting there nodding away. Hey, crazy eyes. Yeah. Brain dead. Pandering to the worst people in society. Woke fucking mongs who know nothing about anything. 165. The halcyon days of yore when the rude orange guy was in. I mean, yeah, all right, he was a bit of a twat, wasn't he? Definitely no need for him mocking the handicap report. That was something I'd do, and I'm not the president. I'm a sweary northern YouTuber. But I mean, at least shit was cheap. Even if you're not into politics, you can just have one very basic. If you're not into politics at all, not remotely interested, don't care about politics, don't read the papers, don't care. It's a normal working class salt of the earth fella. The one thing you do care about is shit cheap. Is shit cheap or is it expensive? Well, now you know the answer. Vote for the fucking orange guy. Vote for the conservative guy who says, I'm not putting the third world first. I'm not putting Germany first or France first. That's for the French Prime Minister and the German Prime Minister. I'm putting America first because I'm an American. And who thinks this is controversial? The French president should put France first. The German chancellor should put Germany first. And the American president should put America first. And that is about as controversial as saying, I don't want to fist my own mother. That's how controversial that is. Can you find anyone who would disagree with that? Even a woke lefty twat would surely have to concede the point. Do you think the Scottish Prime Minister should worry about Scotland or Djibouti? A, Scotland. B, Djibouti. C, wibble wibble. I'm a fucking squirrel. Both of the last two, you're completely fucking mental. In fact, the middle one, you're slightly more mental than wibble wibble, because at least the middle one, at least the bottom one is just confused. The middle one is actually engaging in self-harm. Shall I fuck my own country up, ruin the lives of my own children and grandchildren on a whim with some wayward hope, a hope whispered into the wind that maybe it might help the world somehow? I mean, these people are completely off their tits. And I don't know what else to say about it. I don't know what else to say about it. So yeah, that's hilarious, isn't it? Cursed presidency. If you want to read the whole thing, if you're a fucking pervert and for some sick reason you want to read the whole thing, there you go. Have a look. Have a look. It's brilliant. It's comedy fucking genius. Right. Let's have a look at something else interesting, shall we? We'll go to the BBC homepage and see if there's anything good on there. All right, that was weird. Probably me. That wasn't Susan. I think I pressed the back button. Right, here I am. So, Ukraine war. Boris Johnson sparks fury after comparisons to Brexit. I haven't got the pub, fucking hell. It's only 12:30 over here, vase of flowers. This one was brilliant because obviously the truth hurts, doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen? The truth hurts. We know this. Truth hurts. When someone says something that's complete bollocks, doesn't bother you. When an arrow hits close to the mark, it stings a tad. And this caused fury among the woke. Again, it's a non-story, and the British public aren't interested. But it caused fury among the woke because, well, we know why, don't we? Let's have a read. Ukraine war. Boris Johnson sparks fury after comparison to Brexit. Let's see what he said, shall we? Let's just see how deeply controversial what sparked the fury, shall we?
And I know there are some around the world, even in some Western governments, who invoke what they call realpolitik and who say that we're better off making accommodations with tyranny. I have to say, I believe they are profoundly wrong. And that to try to re-normalize relations with Putin after this, as we did in 2014, would be to make exactly the same mistake again. And that is why Putin must fail. And I know that it's the instinct of the people of this country, like the people of Ukraine, to choose freedom every time. I can give you a couple of famous recent examples. When the British people voted for Brexit in such large numbers, I don't believe it was because they were remotely hostile to foreigners. It's because they wanted to be free, to do things differently, and for this country to be able to run itself. Give you another example. When the British population came forward to be vaccinated at such incredible speed, voluntarily, unlike many other countries.
Now, if you find that controversial, you probably couldn't get through fucking Sister Act without writing an angry letter. Yeah, you found the Muppets Christmas movie to be too controversial to go out on a fucking Tuesday afternoon. There's nothing controversial about any of that. It was the most milquetoast speech, as you can see by the reaction of the crowd. Just silence and the occasional applause. And they want to counter that in this type of language. Fury. Boris Johnson's been criticised for comparing the struggle of Ukrainians fighting Russia's invasion to people voting for Brexit. He said they had the instinct to choose freedom and cited the 2016 vote as a recent example. Lord Barwell said voting in a referendum was not comparable to risking life. Well, he didn't say that, did he? He said, oh, it's hard graft going to vote. Walking casually to the voting office, it's like zigzagging across open ground while a mad Afghan tries to machine gun you. No, he didn't say that, did he? Sir Ed Davey, they're all sirs, aren't they? They're all sirs, these woke posh twats, said it was an insult to Ukrainians. Best of all of the usual suspects started whinging about it, crying about it on Twitter. Who else? Donald Tusk. Boris, your words offend Ukrainians, the British and common sense. Well, Mr. Tusk, just a quick one for you. The British voted for Brexit. You are a Eurocrat who isn't British. You're about as British as a fucking pygmy tribesman from South America or wherever. I don't actually know where pygmies specifically originate from. You're not British, Mr. Tusk. Because you're a narcissistic, power-mad diktat, fucking Euro trash, authoritarian shit cunt. You think you can speak for the British. This is the arrogance of people like this. Boris Johnson, fat, saggy tub of rice pudding that he is at least the British Prime Minister and was elected into his seat freely and fairly in free and fair general elections by the British public. Mr. Tusk is a random fucking Polish bloke. All right? So, Donald, what are you talking about, fella? Oh yeah, I don't think I've mentioned that lately, have I? Antagonistic Biscuit's got a Twitter handle because I just have to argue with people. So follow him; he's a good lad. Antagonistic Biscuit, the nom de guerre. Donald, what are you talking about? Donald, sort your life out. You're not British, Donald. And his words didn't offend the British because they can decide for themselves. They voted him into power, and you're just a random Polish bloke. While Guy Verhofstadt, Elton John gone wrong, Elton John's fucking Downs brother, he said the comparison was insane. Insane. Well, if I want any advice, I only want advice on a Belgian about two things: chocolate manufacturing and paedophilia, right? If I want to know what confectionaries to send Ian Huntley for his fucking birthday, I'll ask Guy Verhofstadt for advice. But if I don't want to send Ian Huntley chocolate goods for his birthday, and I have nothing to say to Guy Verhofstadt. He's got nothing useful to say to anyone. He looks like Elton John's Downs brother if he fell down the fucking stairs and then jammed a pound coin between the gap in his two front teeth and left it there for like 6 months and come out looking like fucking Garfield's girlfriend. So I don't care what Guy Verhofstadt's got to say. Funny old thing, he's not British either. Yeah, just so you know. Rishi Sunak said, I don't think the Prime Minister is making a direct comparison between those two things. Yeah, clearly they're not direct. Yeah, well, there you go, Rishi. Yeah, logical. Basically, Rishi read it like a normal human would and went, yeah, that doesn't make sense, what you said. And they're purposely talking bollocks. I don't understand why they do it. They're on Twitter. Everybody can see what they've typed in black and white, and they still just put absolute fucking bullshit on there. It must be because Twitter is such a ridiculous woke left-wing platform that they never get criticised. So they just keep talking shit on there, and they're happy to put these spurious, absurd opinions out there into the world. Lunacy. Absolute lunacy. So there we go. A Belgian biscuit and a Polish fella telling the British what we all think. Yeah, cheers, lads. Yeah, cheers. I'll tell you what, I'll just speak for the Chinese, shall I? I think the Chinese think Donald Tusk's a cunt. There you go. That was easy, wasn't it? What about Guy Verhofstadt? Oh, yeah, I'll tell you what, Guy. Every Indian thinks you're a fucking chopper. Guy, I was talking to a Sikh bloke the other day, and he assured me that all Sikhs insist that Guy Verhofstadt is definitely a kiddie fiddler. And I know it for a fact just by looking at him. The creepy Elton John gone wrong looking twat. All right? Easy. Well, so I think, what's that? 45. I'll do one more. I spoil you bastards, but it's a Monday. I'll do one more. That's ridiculous. Another non-story by the boil on the arse of humanity that is the BBC. Let's have a look for something else. UK resilience making Russia reassess. Who picks the photos for the BBC, by the way? Look at that. That's just the BBC homepage. Who picks the photos? And this is all about women getting all the bastards' attention again, isn't it? You've got sort of hairy-ass Ukrainian blokes currently actually on the front line fighting Russians. And the BBC's gone with 3 youthful women holding fucking balsa wood guns. It's like, who picks the photos? Is that supposed to be a good interpretation of who's leading the fight on the ground? I've got news for you, militant feminists. You know who's leading the fight on the ground? It's going to be some fucking scar-faced, burly Ukrainian chav, yeah, who loves a bit of chew and has got some balls and has decided to take the fight to the Russians. Or former Ukrainian military or current Ukrainian military. The people pushing back against the Russians, taking out the tanks and actually causing casualties to their soldiers are not youthful, relatively attractive. Well, not the one on the left. She's got a fucking head like a melted welly, but relatively attractive women with balsa wood guns. They don't do balsa wood guns. Not the weapon of. Maybe things have changed since I left the military, but I don't think balsa wood firearms are the weapon of choice for professional fighters. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe things have changed. Maybe now it's balsa wood guns, and instead of having a light support weapon for every 8-man section, you've got a bloke carrying a ceremonial animal, a lamb with a wreath around its neck, and you just shake that at the enemy and blast some soothing panpipe music, and everybody gets naked and daisy chains around. The war is over, man. Maybe. Unlikely. So all I'll say here is, Bootneck was right, wasn't he? Funny old thing. I made several videos about this. Mentioned it many times. I mentioned arguing at length about it with my boss at work, who doesn't have a Green Beret and has never been to a war zone. And he said, oh my, the Russians are just going to kill them all and then they're going to invade Poland. And I was like, what have we got? We've got a force multiplier in the form of Stinger missiles, anti-armor weapons, sophisticated IEDs, landmines, intricate sniper weapons that can score kills from over a mile away. Modern technology is the ultimate force multiplier. I said it at the very beginning of the invasion, and I'll repeat it for people that aren't sensible enough to always listen to me now. The Russians cannot hold Ukraine. If the entire might of the United States military couldn't hold Afghanistan and limped home with their tail between their legs and getting helped by the Europeans, and the British were fucking there carrying the can for Europe, as bastard usual, we couldn't do it because modern technology is a force multiplier. You could invade countries and hold ground like the British did in India. when we were wearing red coats and you had a musket and they had a sharpened guava halve. But you can't do it anymore. It doesn't work. So at best, the Russians are doing what anyone with any brains knows they're going to do. It's the fighting to make a point because dialogue wasn't working. So they'll fight and they'll both be miserable because, as I also said, you only get a peace treaty when both sides are miserable, because if one side's happy, you don't get a peace treaty, because if you're happy, fuck it, you might as well keep fighting. That's how it works. So the Russians will fucking cause a ruckus when Ukraine have had enough of fighting and the Russians have had enough of fighting. They'll come to the table and the Ruskies might say, we want to keep Crimea and we want to keep Donetsk and we want to keep the areas that in the east that run democratically would probably opt to remain Russian, and we'll withdraw from the rest of Ukraine. And you just have to promise that we will not fucking expand east, that you will not join NATO and the EU, and you won't put any bastard nuclear missiles on the border with Russia. And the Russians won't be very happy because they won't take Ukraine, and the Ukrainians won't be very happy because they'll have to give up some stuff. But you have to give shit up or you don't get a peace process. We had to give shit up to the IRA and let them release all the murderers and the killers and the fucking blokes who hosed kids with AK-47s. We had to suck it up, and all the British soldiers who fought in the conflict were depressed and angry about it. And the IRA were depressed and angry about it because they didn't get to unify Ireland in the way that they wanted. That's a peace process. That's how it happens. You both have to be a little bit pissed off. That's what's going to happen here. If you think they're going to stay in fucking Ukraine for 10 years, you've got another thing coming, because it's fucking impossible. It's fucking impossible. The population will be angry, especially in the west of the country. They'll be getting weapons shipped to them. All of the West will be tacitly supplying them on the sly. It will be an absolute nightmare. So this is going to go on until both sides are very depressed, and then they'll come to an accord. They're not going to fucking invade Poland because they won't be able to take Ukraine. That's that. It's called modern technology. It's easy. If the fucking Americans with 10 times the men and manpower, well, not the manpower, but 10 times the funding, couldn't do it in Afghanistan, and 10 times the support, the Russians can't do it in Ukraine. It's not happening. So that's what's going to happen. Fucking easy. Unless you're a middle-class arsehole that works for a mainstream publication, at which point you haven't got a clue what you're talking about, and you either throw out constant propaganda or just fucking wing it and tell lies. The amount of American columnists I see on TV talking total fucking bollocks is quite mind-blowing to anybody that's set foot in anywhere outside of the continental United States. And finally, I will say, yes, RT are lying, but yes, the BBC are lying. All sides play the game in a war. It's called propaganda. We all do it. Yes, RT lies. Yes, Sputnik lies. But guess what? So does the BBC. Some of the fucking stories that the BBC's thrown out of late have just been outright insane propaganda. Constantly talking about massive numbers of civilian casualties when they really aren't happening. Considering how many civilians are there, they've almost been somewhat reserved. I'm not saying in any way excusing what the Russians have done, but you have to face facts. Here's one that I saved because I wanted to talk about it today. Fuck off. Is that not popping up? Again. Here we are. This was on the BBC. Live. This was on the weekend. Schools sheltering 400 hit by Russian strike. So, 400 kids dead then. They've done this loads of times. Remember that big hubbub they made about that church that was sheltering people? Oh, the Russians bombed a church full of people. It doesn't seem like they killed many people there. Every day they report, oh my God, the Russians have just shelled us 400. It doesn't say, notice it doesn't say 400 killed by a Russian strike. Every single day they push out ridiculous fucking propaganda to do what the Russians are doing and demonize the other side. Objectively, the Russians are not trying to butcher. This is what Republican senators have said on the TV over here. Butcher as many women and children as possible. The guy who I listened to who said that was Mark Levine. I'm sure some of you are a big fan of Mark Levine because he's very conservative American commentator. But Mark Levine was talking bollocks. It's this warmongering propagandizing that you've got to be aware of. And again, no part of me is pro-Russia. If someone has to lose and everybody die, then obviously I prefer to be the Russians instead of the British or the Americans. But you have to think for yourself. Mark Levine was saying Putin is a monster. He's a proper polemicist. He's as aggressive as I am. He just doesn't swear. He was saying Putin is a monster. He's going to kill us. He's butchering as many women and children as possible. He isn't. He isn't. If you wanted to kill us, if I was there, if I was in charge, I could have put 100,000 civilians in the ground by now. Easy. Easy. Just pick a peak time in crowded areas, set up 10 MLRS systems and a bunch of artillery and bomb the living fuck out of all the civilian areas. Reduce 20, 30 or 40 high-rise flats to fucking rubble and there's a few thousand dead civilians. They are attempting to be strategic in what they're doing. They are not willfully butchering as many people as they can. It's just fiction. Should they have invaded Ukraine? No. Am I pro-Russia? No. But we both propagandize and we demonize the other side. And for us to have any chance of long-term peace, we have to stop this childish attack on the Russians. Putin is a fucking twat, and who knows where this is going to end up with him, personally. But you can't attack normal Russians, and you shouldn't be painting them as fucking butchers. Have civilians died in this? Yeah, probably a couple of thousand at this point. But they have at least attempted to do what we attempted to do in Iraq and in Afghanistan and have military targets minimizing civilian casualties. This sort of shit is typical BBC propaganda. And if you doubt it, one final page to show you. Doubt it, just look at that. We always tried to choose military targets in the Iraq War, but estimates of the casualties from the Iraq War and the ensuing occupation and insurgency are believed to be between 151,000 violent deaths in June 2006 to over 1 million. Over 1 million. We literally killed hundreds of thousands of women and children. And you never saw the BBC pump a headline out as bollocks as that. Absolute horse shit. So be aware of it. Don't in any way swallow the shite that they write on RT or Sputnik, but ask the same questions of the weasels that run the mainstream media. Because if the last 5 or 6 years has taught us anything, Trump, Brexit specifically, coronavirus, it's that you can't trust anyone. And the BBC and the Guardian and CNN and MSNBC are no better than Sputnik and RT. And I think I'll leave it there, ladies and gents. Don't listen to bollocks. Do your own research, make up your own mind, and try not to be a thick twat. All right? Marvellous. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all tomorrow. Keep your chins up, because remember, fuck 'em. We can all keep chuckling as the world fucking burns around us. Thanks, ladies and gents. See you tomorrow. Jolly good show. Toodle pip.